Hello, this video is the start of Sun conjunction. So, as you know, Sun is like our soul, our personality, our vitality, ego, confidence, rules. Well, it's the significator for father in our chart, and our leaders, our bosses, politicians, government, royalty. Sun rules Leo, and it's the natural fifth house of the zodiac. So it's a very creative planet too. So we create children, we create art, we create like nice environments to live. So all of those things are to do with the sun. Sun, obviously, the fifth house of the natural zodiac. Sun also, because of Leo, rules the heart chakra. Heart chakra, the physical heart. I always think that Cancer is the emotional heart, and Leo is the physical. So it's about romance, love, and through which we actually create children. It's also entertainment. All those wonderful things are to do with Leo. Well, fifth house naturally as well. So and wherever sun sits in your chart is where you get the respect and you shine in your life. So if it's in your 11th house, you shine amongst your networks. If it's your say for example, fourth house, your mother shines. She's a formidable force. So that's how you see things. Sun is most uncomfortable in the 12th house because this 12th house is a natural house of moksha, and it's also a very, very secretive house. It's all about things that are really hidden. So that's probably where I'll see Sun the weakest, even though it's debilitated in the 7th house of natural zodiac, which is Libra. So in the 7th house, whether it's Libra or not, it's kind of like feels a little bit out of control because feels weak actually. So it's probably got less ego attached to it actually. That's how I would say. It's because the king, sun is the king, the leader, the boss. So therefore, like Libra, which is the 7th house of the natural zodiac, is how we interact with others. We just self-sacrifice in order to get on with other people, be harmonious. Whereas the sun, you know, the royalty, the king, the prime minister, the president, they don't want to be getting, you know, they don't necessarily care about getting on with other people. They just want to do the job, if you like. So therefore, it's most uncomfortable there. But to me, a 12th house sun, it has got quite a lot of things attached to it. That's how I've been taught, you know. So, and it gets directional strength, which means that he's got the most amount of focus in the 10th house of natural zodiac, which will be Capricorn. Now, because obviously it's the boss. Once, you know, a Capricorn is like institutions, it's the government, all that kind of stuff. So it naturally wants to shine. Now, this also, you will find people who have got sun in Capricorn, even if it's not the 10th house, they naturally want to shine. They're naturally bossy. They can't help it. That's just the way it is. So if amongst your friends you have got somebody who has that, even if it's in the 4th house, the 3rd house, the 1st house, whatever it is, it naturally is a little bit like they're bossy, you know, that's just the way it is. So now, obviously, Sun is friendly with the Moon, Mars, Jupiter, and Mercury, and very, very big enemies of Venus and Saturn. So those of you who have seen the videos of those conjunctions, you know, they're quite difficult. You probably experienced that in your life. And obviously the nodes don't like the sun and moon. So that's another thing. And that's when the eclipses occur, the lunar or solar eclipses, when they are with either Ketu or Rahu, north or south node of the moon. Now, there are other things that I wanted to tell you about, like obviously sun is exalted in Aries, which is the sign of me, myself, and I. That's it. King and I. And so it's exalted at 10 degrees there in Aries, debilitated at 10 degrees in Libra. I would probably say Sun does worse in Venus's signs. They're so difficult, and also Sun is difficult in Saturn signs too. If you have them, you realize that it's the nature of Sun is fiery. So therefore, whatever planet it's sitting with is going to be eclipse, is going to be agitated, because you know fully well that if you're in the heat of the day when the sun is out, or if you're trying to park your car when it's really sunny, it's very, very frustrating, very, very difficult. So that's how it feels, you know. So when you see in people's charts sun and moon situations, excuse me, well, sun with any planet, it's agitating that planet, even if they're not combust. And I would leave below all the kind of combustion degrees, etc., for you. But I mean, obviously, if it's it is difficult being with them. Mercury is a planet that Mercury and Venus are fast moving planets, so they do move with the sun, and so often you see them in the chart quite close to the sun, whether it's in the same sign or a sign behind, sign in front, or sometimes even two signs. And so, but generally speaking, you know, sun agitates, and so when it comes to the sun and the other planets, you want to see the degrees really, and the slower moving the planet is, the wider the sort of distance needs to be for it not to be combust. And obviously, if planets are retrograde in towards the sun, it's even more combustion going on there. So combustion is very difficult because what it does, it kind of burns away and purifies some of the indications of that planet. Excuse me, while a car's alarm has gone off. And the other things, so sun obviously gets directional strength in the 10th house. That's where it works quite well. And probably the most, I think sun is better actually because it's ego attached as well. Sun is sometimes better when it's in the chart is not overly well, you will know people who have got like exalted sun. They can be a little bit like well, you know you know, they kind of like, they are so self-aware, you know, so aware of their needs, they can just completely overlook other people. And it's all about their comfort, it's all about what they want. So if you're in a group of friends, you have somebody who has got an exalted sun, boy, do you know about it, you all know about it. It is just so crazy. So yeah, so sun and moon, so sun being the indicator of the father, and we're going to discuss moon today, but it's obviously, you know, you want to look at all planets and just see how it's going, but with the moon, because obviously it's the most important thing, I'm just going to do an extra video in the middle here so you know, because I want to just introduce lunar phases too to this. Anyway, let's just start. Before I go, actually, I just wanted to say something else about the sun and moon thing, because if sun and moon are together conjunct in a sign, in the D9, not so much in the D1, D9, because that kind of confirms everything and is a sign of like how we are with other people in relationships. If you got sun and moon conjunction in your D9, you're very new to relationships. So really just be aware that you're learning about relationships. And so don't get yourself, you know, like, don't be hard on yourself. This is what I'm trying to say, you know, and it's possible that you are going to go through some challenges in relationships because you really need to know your mind in order to be in a relationship in a positive way. And that comes with time, because none of us come out with an instruction book knowing what to do with it. So don't be hard on yourself. Okay, on to next video. Hello, Rahu Sun conjunction. So Rahu is obviously the part in anybody's chart that we don't know very much about. So this is like the area that we need to discover. But clearly anything new in our lives as humans, or star seeds, I should say as well, some of us, are actually, what happens is because we always like to stay with what we know, even if it's painful. So Ketu is what we know, Rahu is what we are here to explore in this lifetime. And Rahu will be like naivety. It'll be something we have no experience of, it's something unusual. And Rahu also magnifies whatever it touches. So the house that you have Rahu in is going to naturally give you that area of your life really stands out, not just to you, but to other people too. That's where I wouldn't say you necessarily shine. It's how it can make you famous. There we go. So that's probably a good way of actually talking about it. So it actually rules. It's smoke, it's fog, so it's not real. And now it's going to be sitting with the sun. Sun also illuminates and eclipses, the same as Rahu eclipses as well, everything. And sun is obviously our ego, our vitality, our personality, our intelligence, all of those things, as we said in the previous video. So you can imagine, so this is going to be quite profound for the person, particularly if there are men. So Rahu rules addictions, all kinds of things like smoking, taking drugs, overdoing things, because it's just eyes, it just wants what it sees, but it has no concept of, like, for example, it might see like a really, really expensive watch, and it's just got to have it just because it just looks blingy, and it makes them, in their eyes, it's going to really stand out, because that's what they want to do. They want to stand out, they want to show off, and it's fine. Never ever, we should never be judgmental about anyone, because that's what they're here to do. This is their soul's desire. And where Rahu is obviously what they have to experience. So they want to be flash and stand out and be different, a bit kind of like there's a bit of enigma about them. There is it also rules aliens, ETs, anything unknown. So we might think to ourselves that we are like, we are the only inhabitants of planet Earth, Terra, Gaia, but we have a hollow earth. We don't know what's going on underneath. So we're just assuming these things. But obviously there has been discoveries, haven't they, of giant's bones and other kind of unusual things. And that's what, it's ruled. Other galaxies, undiscovered lands, all of which are Rahu. Rahu rules space, it rules aviation, airplanes, helicopters, all of those will be Rahu. So Rahu is also like just like somebody who comes up with, for example, I mean, I don't know, this say on the cars, when they had most traditional car doors open like that, don't they? We then had in the 80s or 70s, I can't remember, we had car doors that opened upwards. So that's again another Rahu thing. So this unusual innovation, a little bit like at their kind of thing. So these people could be, in terms of creativity, they could be really have amazing ideas. They come up with things that can be revolutionary. So don't judge a book by its cover, but because now they're sitting with planet of ego, they're going to have massive egos, but it's all fake because they don't really, so don't judge yourself. I mean, I'm sorry if you got Rahu Sun and, but it is, we don't know. I mean, we all have Rahu somewhere, and that area of our life we are absolutely clueless about until we keep kind of tripping up and learning about it. Actually, I mean, depending on whether or not this your ascendant and ascendant lord are strong, or Saturn is strong in your sign, so you're quite grounded, then the results will be completely different, because we're just talking about like one you know, one kind of conjunction, one sort of aspect of your chart. Anyway, with Rahu Sun, so you know, this person really is kind of struggling a little bit, because for everyone, Sun is our soul planet, so we don't really know what our soul's journey is. There's a bit of a fog on it, it's smoke, and it's not real, you know, like camera imaging and film and all of that. This is all Rahu. It's like, it's not real. So it's going to take them a while before they get used to it. And because Sun is the most consistent planet on, you know, of the zodiac, it consistently comes up every morning and travels towards west and then sets in the west. So every single day it does that, you know, gives consistent, stable, reliable. And so now it's being harmed by Rahu, because Rahu is very, very malefic in its thing. So it's trickster. It's, you know, it rules the underworld in a sense, even though I know Pluto does in Western astrology. So for us in Vedic astrology, this is like the trickster of our zodiac. So yeah, it's like creating. So the person could actually be like, you know, like, so they could say, for example, if it was in your 11th house or third house, this person could be like pretending, because they don't really know. So at a young age, they could actually get into really bad groups of friends if, you know, the condition of the Sun is not good. Say, for example, if Sun isn't a malefic, say in signs, say like, for example, in Saturn signs, because it's really unfriendly towards Saturn. Now it's in Saturn sign, which is an enemy sign. Say, for example, if it's in the 12th house and Sun doesn't do well in the 12th house, sorry, I just said the 11th house, but just let's say that, for example. But if it's sitting with Rahu, so this is it's really is the planet of being dignified and having integrity, which is the Sun, is now being corrupted by Rahu, because Rahu is naughty, you know. And but don't judge yourself or judge other people, because this is how it's got to be. This is what we got to experience. So the person could, now going back to the 11th house, it could actually be attracted to groups of people who are on the surface are very like posh and very like, they have all these luxury cars, luxury clothing, you know, all that kind of stuff. But they could be like the head of mafia or something like that. So they could be getting into things that are just like a little bit out of their depth for them. And if their ascendant Lord and say Saturn, as we said, and Jupiter are not strong as well, so this person can actually create a lot of issues for themselves by getting into groups and then having to commit to things that they feel completely out of depth with. So this is what we've got to be careful with Rahu, because we don't know, and actually we need to just make a few mistakes until we realize, no, this is not what we want. So yeah, I mean, this is something that is worth knowing, you know. And even if, like, for example, if for Taurus ascendant, if Sun was in the 12th house exalted with Rahu, so you know that again, that just because Sun is in good condition doesn't necessarily guarantee that everything is going to be good, because it's in the 12th house and it's with Rahu. So Rahu is in enemy sign and enemy to the Sun. So yeah, it can be like quite, so just be aware of these things. I would probably say this is a little bit more difficult for men than women, because this is a masculine energy. So for a woman, it means that they are attracted to men who are like that, like they like the whole power, and the power could be quite fake as well. So, but yeah, so they like somebody who's got status, drives a particular car, lives a particular part of the town. But really, because this was Rahu, so it could be like you need to do your homework, because Sun is eclipsed in that house, as is you know, Rahu. So you just like got to really be sure. And so yeah, so it can create problems for women as well. But it's, if you're a man, you really got to work at this harder, because I know from my own experiences and the readings that I've done and from my teachers and everything, that Sun Rahu for a man is a bit more painful, because they will literally, they will promise the women the world and deliver nothing, you know, because they can, particularly like in the second or third house, they could fib quite a lot. They could, like, white lies here, white lies there, and they say so many, they get tangled up. And because nobody's mind is that strong to be able to remember every little fib, so they can get themselves and trip themselves up, and they will trip themselves up obviously with second house, which is what we're talking about, and third house amongst friends, colleagues, siblings, neighborhoods, etc. So you could actually harm their integrity. And and I always say, I mean, that I have a video about this for females. Definitely, you want to watch this Rahu Sun video, where basically it's like when you go into a relationship with these people, you know, unless if they are over 40, 45, and they've really worked on themselves. Unless, as I said, if ascendant is strong, Jupiter and Saturn are strong, it's absolutely fine. But you got to remember, this is like a masculine energy that is really being harmed, you know. So and it's so they're learning a lot about themselves, but they are faking it till they make it, that kind of thing. Yeah, so you got to be, remember not to surrender your heart to somebody like that. Just really watch them. You know, if you have this in your chart, these are the people that you're attracted to. And if obviously they've got it in their chart as well, so there is, yeah, you just got to be careful. But if they are kind of, I mean, I know I've seen this in certain cultures. When they have this, they're actually, because they kind of are very close to their family, you know, their mum and grandmas, and you know, granddads and dads and everything else. So therefore it's completely different, because they realize the value of family and value of the whole looking after, you know, your heritage and lineage and everything else. So yeah, for a woman, if you meet a guy who's got Sun Rahu conjunction anywhere in their chart, or Rahu being 10 houses from the Sun as well, that's another one that you got to be careful of as well. That again will create problems. And but once they actually work through these, and they are really kind of become devoted to their family, and they have that respect for the females and everything, they can be just quite amazing people. And so, because they will be amazing leaders, really, particularly in the 10th house, because Sun will have dignity in the 10th house. That's completely different ball game to you know, I mean, Sun and Rahu together in the 10th house. So that would be amazing. I don't mean Rahu being 10 houses away from the Sun, because we're talking about the conjunction. So yeah. So this is quite like, you know, but also Rahu is about like diseases as well, and technology, programming, all that kind of stuff. And Rahu is going to play a very, very big part once Saturn goes into Aquarius again in January 2023. We're going to see a huge number of different things coming out, new innovations, new technology that's going to be amazing for healing and power, etc. So yeah, just bear those things in mind. So yeah, Rahu Saturn Sun, sorry. So it's a little bit difficult for the women if they're attracted to those sort of guys, and if the guy that they end up with is going to have that. But you know, but they have to be consistent. So don't let them off the hook. Make sure that they are consistent. And guys, if you have this, you really got to work at it, because you need to just have some level of commitment to somebody or people in your life, really, in order to just be able to have that concrete foundations for your future. So I'm going to, next video will be about the ascendants. Thank you. It's worth noting as well that Sun is obviously an indicator of father, and bosses. So therefore, that is a flavor of your father as well. Maybe your dad had also had a struggle knowing who he really was until a bit later in life when he he got to know himself better. Or maybe that it just shows that there could have been some difficulties with them, actually it could be their health as well, or the way that they were. Maybe they were just like showed the world a completely different side to themselves to what they were at home. Thank you.